I'm going to share two insights with you. The first one is that when you heal, you start to lose a connection with yourself. The more you heal, the less you know who you are. I've been helping people for 11 years, and even myself on this 11-year journey so far. And I see the same pattern emerge between all of them. The more that they start to remove the mask that they wear, the less they know themselves, the less comfortable they are with themselves. They can't figure out who they are. And that was me 11 years ago when I changed my life. I lived in a house with a group of men. I was a bachelor. We all helped each other grow and see through the mask and hold each other accountable. But the life I had just exited, I had no idea who I was. So they were helping me see through those masks, cut through the mask, the lying, the manipulating, the stealing, the arrogance, the fear, all of those. And then I started going to college. I went to college for chemical engineering. And what I found was a new mask to put on. And that mask was intellectual prowess. I was smart. I was smarter than all of the other students. And I had more dedication and determination than all of them. And I wore that mask. I had a chip on my shoulder. In fact, I separated myself from all of those people. I found a new version of myself. But I got trapped in it. That mask that I put on. But in all of these years of healing, I was still discovering who I was. I knew myself less. And so the first insight is that the more that you heal, the less you will know yourself. And here's the lie that you've been told for a long time. This is insight number 2, is that you are healing to make a better life for yourself. But that is not what healing is. Healing is figuring out, discovering who you don't want to be. Who you don't want to be. In all these 11 years, I've lived all those different lives. I was a bartender, a husband, an engineering student, a project manager, a successful businessman, all of these different lives. And I thought that in each one of these lives, I was figuring out who I was. But what I was actually doing was trading one mask for another. The addict became the intellectual became the husband became the successful professional. And I was discovering that these were not who I was. They were the different masks, but the same problem. I still didn't know who I was. My job is here with you and with the other men that I help and the other women that I help. That I had to go through all of the masks, removing all of them, putting them on, living in them for a little bit, to discover none of those is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And it took 10 years of a healing path to figure out what I don't want to do. So when you do start to heal, it is not about making a better life or being a better version of you. It's about removing stuff, deconstructing, deconditioning, removing it so that you can get down to the bottom of who you really are and what you really want to do. Not adding this and adding that, not adding more of this, more tasks for you to do every day or adding different relationships. None of that. It is only about removing the mechanisms that you've hid behind. A couple of those mechanisms, the arrogance back when I was in college, the chip on my shoulder with my intellectual prowess. I used that because I found it useful. It was the first thing in my life in 25 years at the time. This was when I was 25. In 25 years, it was the first thing that I found that I was actually better than other people. And the world had beat me down before this. And so now, since I found this, I put it on, and this was my survival mechanism. This was how I survived. Let's keep people away from me, and if they get too close, I will intellectually bully them. These are masks. And then when I was married, the mask did change. And this time, instead of keeping people close and like trying to bully them, I wanted them to see how awesome I was. Like, I have made it. I have done the path that y'all chose for me. I did that path that you chose for me. And I stuck on it. The cost of sticking and living behind a mask is going to lead to one path: misery. In your heart of hearts, you know for a fact that the way you're living is not the way that you're supposed to. And you know it. But because the world has taught you that you have to live that way, you continue. You continue down that path of living in the way that you've been told to live. And you're probably miserable. If you get quiet for a few minutes and look inside, maybe 20 minutes, just quietude, you'll probably find yourself uncomfortable with who you are, uncomfortable with who your life is. And the symptoms of this is misery, calamity, tension between all the people around you, tension on the inside. Have you ever been alone by yourself, crying because it's not who you wanted to be, crying because you feel so miserable, or not even crying, just moping around, silent? Everything is horrible. It doesn't matter. Nothing fulfills you. These are the costs of continuing down a path that you know you're not supposed to. This is the cost. We lose ourself, our true self, our authentic self. And we begin to identify and get so attached to the mask that we wear that we become that. And it is a direct conflict on the inside with who we're supposed to be. The hardest but most rewarding thing that I ever did was walk away from that marriage. And it broke all of us. It broke her, my daughter, it broke me for a time. But after that, we all were able to heal in the direction that we needed to. But it was so hard to do it. It was so hard because we think that the misery that we're in, or the unhappiness that we're living in, is to protect the people around us so they don't have to go through pain. That's what we think. But the truth is that misery will continue to drag on forever until something changes. Now, I'm not saying to get a divorce. I'm not saying to do any of that, make huge changes. I'm just saying, ask yourself if the way that you are and who you are, that you're okay with it. Now, I've lived lives where I was miserable, but it wasn't because of the relationship that I was in. It was because of me. And in this healing journey, the last 5 years, I have had to reshape myself multiple times, but stayed in the same relationship because I know that's where I'm supposed to be. I know that's where I'm supposed to be. But it is so challenging. Think about it like this. You're swimming across a lake and you get halfway and you're exhausted and you feel so disconnected with yourself through this healing process that the most comfortable and familiar thing that you can do is swim back the other way. I've seen it time and time again. The problem is that most people stop here. They start to figure out that the masks are falling. But those masks that are falling gave them comfort. They gave them identity, belonging. And then they start to panic because they're losing that. With losing that, they start to feel lost. People swim back the way that they came because of how uncomfortable and exhausted they are. And they stop their journey. They stop their path. They stop healing. Because the masks are falling and they feel uncomfortable with that. There's nothing to attach to. But that is a part of the healing process. Those masks will continue to shed. They will continue to shatter. And I promise, if you continue swimming to the other side of the lake, where you're discovering who you are, finding out who you don't want to be more and more, then I promise at the end is a beautiful bay area, a beachhead, where you will find a plethora of avenues that you can choose from because you know and are comfortable with who you are. But if you don't make it there, you're only going to continue to go back to the familiar misery, uncomfortability, the relationships that you've been shackled to. So if you're in the middle of the lake and the masks are falling, so you're starting to feel lost and you haven't discovered who you are yet, there's a link in the description to the rebuild kit. That is the exact reason why I built it. For those people who are stuck in the middle and are ready to swim back to the familiar version because they haven't figured out who they are yet. I'm still discovering who I am today. I'm still discovering. And here's the most rewarding and the most scary part about this whole journey is nobody has done me before. There is no roadmap for you on who you are, because there is only one person that will be and ever has been you, and that is you right now. So if you walk towards the uncomfortability and the discovery and start discovering or remembering who you are, that means that you are healing, and it's only you down that path. Now, when you do hit the other side of that lake and that past is behind you and you're on this new beachhead, remember, every path that you choose has a cost and you have to pay it. When I did have my divorce, the cost of staying in that was going to be long and drawn out, but the cost of leaving it was quick and fast. But each path had a cost, and you're going to have to pay it, no matter what. So today, knowing all of this, knowing that being disconnected from yourself or feeling lost during your healing journey, and also that healing is not making a better life, it's discovering what you don't want, the life that you don't want. Knowing all of this, today, ask yourself, like honestly, get quiet for 20 minutes. Do I want to continue going down where I am? Or do I want to reshape who I am? Do I want to work through these masks? Give yourself an honest assessment. Give yourself an honest assessment, because the only way to continue to healing is to understand that you are going to have to go through uncomfortable stuff. You are going to. I can continue down the same path that I'm on and be numb, emotionless, so that I can protect myself from the uncomfortability of change, or I can get uncomfortable and go down change. That's the only solution that I want to propose to you today. Just get quiet and ask yourself, do you really want to heal, or do you want to stay the same? And there's no limits to what your life will look like when you're walking down a path of self-discovery. There's no limits. But you know exactly where your life goes if you stay where you're at. But if you do find that you want to continue and go down a new path, then watch this next video about why you keep repeating the same mistakes even though you're trying something new. Love y'all. Peace.